guys, Rob from Georgia here with you, aka VHS82 apostrophe. It is week 361. It is theme week. It is my theme week. So somebody needs to tell me why on earth did I pick this freaking movie?
BodyBags, where horror lies.
Alright, well, there's an easy answer to that question. It's freaking Italian. So why wouldn't I pick it? So here we are. It is, again, like I said, week 361. And it is theme week, and it is pick a title that has the word house. And, well, this movie has been on my mind for quite a while. I can't remember exactly how it sort of fell into my lap in terms of just knowing of it. But sometime back I was in one of the my favorite secondhand shops and browsing the shelves, and wouldn't you know it, for like a measly $3, and not even that, I don't think, I saw it there, and I thought, well, there you go, I'm going to review this bad boy. So I picked it up, and it's been on the shelf for a little while, and I've just been waiting for a good excuse to put it on and watch it. And being an 06, being Italian, and being what little I read of it leading up to that point, I thought, man, this is going to be freaking awesome, man, because you don't get enough Italian goodness this late in the game. And so here we are. So I figured I'd develop a theme around it just so I could review this thing. And so here we are in week 361, and I've got to spend a few minutes here. I am not big on negative reviews, so get that out of the way. This movie does have its moments, but I'm going to be blunt honest. When I got done the first time watch, I really thought to myself, what the frick did I just watch? Like, that was a complete and absolute waste of the last, whatever the runtime is of my life. But you know what? Sometimes you need a day or so to think on things. And, think about intention, think about what the filmmaker, in this case, Gabriele Albanesi, I think is how you say his name, and we'll just leave it at that. But it is Italian, and there's a bit of a throwback feel in here, or at least that was part of the intent. And it's funny that Glenn reviews House at the Edge of the Park on Monday, because that is one of the nods that this movie makes reference to, amongst other Italian fare films, and even just maybe a tiny bit of Chainsaw, sorta. But there are spoilers. I'm just gonna talk spoiler. There is one twist I'm gonna leave off the table. I'm not gonna touch it, but I'm gonna deal with another twist. There's a few twists in this movie. So really, basically what you have here is, like I said, it is Italian, it is 06, it was made for about $45,000. It didn't make much of that back. And I think the hope maybe was that this could have been a catalyst or a spark for maybe other films. But really what you hear, like I said, think House at the Edge of a Park, Last House on the Left, maybe a little bit of Chainsaw, other Italian fare. And this really does intend to be, pay great respects to the greats that was or were Italian horror of the 60s into the 70s and the 80s. My God, names like Fulci and Argento and Bava and Lamberto Bava, the son, right? And others, right? And so, I mean, basically what you have here is, and I'm going to sort of give away the initial twist, but you do get a little bit of a prologue, I guess, in the beginning, a preface of sorts, something that happens we're allowed to see at the very beginning that will play its way out through the film as flashbacks, and then ultimately lead up to this grand moment where it's supposed to be a pretty shocking twist. It's pretty sad. I'm not sure how shocking. You know something's coming because of the amount of flashbacks. But really, once you get past that and into the film, what you have here is you have a couple, Aurora and Reno. I don't remember exactly how it was said. But you got a couple, and they're sort of on the outs, and he's doing everything he can to try to get things back going again. And but there's we get an early moment scene with them, and then there's some passage of time, and then we sort of pick up where he basically shows up at her place, hoping that he can con her into the car and take a little bit of a drive, and she's a sucker for it. So they end up on this back road somewhere, and after some vehicular nonsense, I guess, having some fun, he's again trying to invoke this need for a relationship, which she keeps on sort of rebuffing him. And it's here where we're introduced to our three sort of last house on the left wannabe thugs. Krug, neither of these guys, Cesare, I think the leader of the group, Krug, he is not. But they do their best to unsettle these two, beat up Reno, and try to rape Aurora. But at the height of this moment, a couple sort of appears out of nowhere. And they sort of, the husband, he has a gun, so he's able to break things up. And when the three thugs take off, he is able to it is a con, but he's able to convince them that they need to get in their car and go back to their house so they can sort of get their minds right after what's happened, which that piece of the film makes absolutely no freaking sense to me at all. I could get it, man, if they would have wrote in there like something was wrong with the car, or maybe one of the thugs vandalized the car, maybe I don't know, stab the tire and let the air out. There would have been a little bit better of a plausibility factor here, but there is none. The car is fine, it's just sitting there, but we jump into a stranger's car, even though I get it, they're the savior of the moment, but then they go all the way out into the middle of nowhere, where they're supposed to have this sort of calming down experience, and while they get separated almost immediately, they're separated from one another, the husband is trying to sort of calm Aurora, and in that ends up hitting on her. And so there's this like really creepy moment, and she's not sure how to take it, and then she sort of falls for it. And so there's a lot of weird sort of attributes to these characters that, let's just say this, really there is no one to root for in this movie until the main twist unfolds, which is, wouldn't you know it, these three thugs from the beginning of the movie are out, they've been partying and doing whatever, their car runs out of gas, and where does that put them in the middle of the night? Just down the road from the house where these people live, where the couple that they harass at the beginning are now being, just absolutely tortured, and there's a component of this family that almost rings Hills Have Eyes, the Hills Have Eyes kind of vibe. There's a little boy who is the little son of the couple, and he is sort of that little kid from Creepers Phenomena. A little different though. So I mean, there's a lot of weird things, moving parts going on, and unfortunately maybe too many, and things are never really executed that well. But when these three thugs show up on the scene and they realize where they're at and who's at this house, mostly because the husband, they hear some noise, so he goes out to investigate, and there's sort of they meet each other in the yard or whatever, and the thugs are able to basically bash his head in, and they take that opportunity to go into the house to basically just have their way. So this is sort of where House at the Edge of the Park maybe kind of feel. They go in, of course, there's that whole twist there, but they go in, and what they find though is sort of, what the freaking crap is this? Which is really, it's an interesting, because the leader of the thug group, he has sort of a sobering moment where suddenly he's not the Krug wannabe. Now he's sort of like, wait a minute, I just ran into something much worse than me. How's that possible? And so, things really get chaotic, And as they begin to unfold and lead us up to the climax of the film, there's a lot of bloodletting. Now, I do have to say, Sergio Stivoletti, if that's how you say it, he, of course, we know him from Demons 2, Opera, Cemetery Man, Phenomena. He did a lot of work back in the day. He is definitely a bright spot. His makeup special effects component of this film, he acts as producer, is definitely a bright spot on this film. The effects are a bit shabby here and there. It's nothing like, but it is practical, so that we have to hang our hat on. There is another twist towards the very end. I'll leave that alone. But really what you have here is an attempt to take, these three sort of last house on the leftish type people and basically turn them into heroes at the end. Which, in more capable hands and maybe a better written script and maybe some better actors, this movie really maybe had some interesting potential to be something quite interesting. That being said, it's still interesting in the sense of what they tried to do. And I guess that's where I love Mikey Fish, man, bringing the independent aspect of filmmaking to the table. Is so much fun watching his reviews. And here is a very independent, low-budget film, but with some aspiration to it. Mostly an attempt to tip the hat to the old Italian cinema days, as they were. And it just doesn't, Sam Raimi's Ghosthouse Underground label is what released this. So they did get a decent release. And the audio on here and everything is pretty good. There's a few extras. So, they really did get a really nice DVD treatment here. But like I said, it's not going to sit there as my favorite Italian film that I've ever seen, right? But the more I think about this, I'm glad I didn't do this review seconds after I watched it. It would not have been good. But it's given me some time to really sort of think about it. And there is one moment where the three thugs, when they're all sort of standing outside their broken down car, or the car that's out of gas, and they're trying to figure out, it's in the middle of the night, trying to figure out what the next move is. You hear this scream just seemingly coming out of nowhere in the blackness of these woods. That might be the creepiest moment in the entire movie, at least for me, because it's where a lot of hidden potential was in what they were trying to do. And so, I left a bit of a twist untouched, but it's definitely a movie. If you see it on the shelf at a secondhand shop or whatever, it's only $1.99 or something, definitely pick it up and check it out. I think it's more than that to rent off Prime, I think. And unless you're really, really a fan of real low-budget filmmaking, I would say, man, if you see it really cheap on the shelf, yank it up for sure. But it's a movie that, unless it just falls in your hands, I don't know how much you're really missing here. But I don't know if it's really the last house in the woods. It definitely is a house out there in the woods. And so for theme week, I am so stoked, so excited to see the rest of this week unfold and the titles that are coming our way. Man, I so appreciate you guys, and for plugging in, for listening, and just for liking and commenting and just helping keep Body Bags moving forward is what we want. And there's some great things coming down the pike. I'm just going to leave it there, leave it like that. But there's some really, really cool things coming down our way, I think. And I feel really good. Always have felt great about Body Bags, just because of the lineage, the history we have, those who've come before us. It is really special to me. But those who make up Body Bags right now are also very special to me. And everyone puts a lot of work and thought into these. And so we just applaud you for just stopping and pausing for a minute and checking out what we're doing. And so, stay plugged into the rest of Theme Week as it unfolds and the weeks that lie beyond. With that, I'm just going to leave it there and just say, go big.
This is not a dream, not a dream.